our goal is to understand how the financial crisis hit the real economy and how the government, through its monetary and fiscal policies, was able to alleviate the effects of the financial shock on the economy. We need a model of the economy, not of a single market, but of entire economy. And this is what macroeconomics is about. By constructing models of the aggregate economy and then using them to understand the effects of external shocks and policies. External shocks, for example, are the change in consumers' confidence, which could affect consumption expenditure, or a change in firms' confidence, which could affect also the investment spending of the economy, while policies such as taxes and government spending. We start from the definition of the economy's aggregate output. As we all know, there are three ways to measure GDP. And below is an example of an economy consisting of only two firms. We have steel company and car company. And the table shows the information of the two companies with their revenues, expenses, as well as the profit. When we talk about the economy's aggregate output, we are also referring to the country's gross domestic product or GDP. And there are three ways to calculate GDP of the country. First is by adding all the value of final goods produced in the economy in a given period. Between steel and car, it is obvious that car is an example of a final good and steel is an example of an intermediate goods or raw materials to produce cars. So we simply get the value of car. So in this case, we have 20,000. So that's the value of car sold, 20,000. The second, GDP is the sum of the value added in the economy in a given period. So we should get the same amount na 20,000 pesos. So from the information given of the two companies, it is implied that the steel company has a value added of 10,000 and the car company has a value added of also 10,000. So what do you mean by value added or how to calculate value added? Value added is simply the amount of a product when it is sold minus the cost of acquiring that product. So sa steel company, the value added of the company is 10,000. So the cost of acquiring steel is 0. So it is not given there. So we assume 0 yung cost. And sa car company, the value added is 10,000. Paano nakuha si 10,000? The value of car, which is 20,000. So that's the cost or value of car when it is sold minus the cost of the raw material, which is steel. So 20,000 minus 10,000 is equal to 10,000. So adding the two value added of the two companies, so it is now equal to 20,000. And again, 20,000 is the value of the GDP or value of the economy's aggregate output. Third, GDP is the sum of incomes. So these are profits and salaries or profits plus salaries in the economy in a given period. So if we will add all the income or profits or salaries in the example, so it should be equal to 20,000. So from the table, incomes in the steel company is equal to 10,000. So it is 8,000 plus 2,000. 8,000, that's the income of the worker. So yung wages nila. Plus 2,000, that's the income of the steel owner or steel producer. So 8,000 plus 2,000, that's the total income of the steel company. Then we will also add or determine the income in the car company. So again, we have wages or income of the workers na 7,000 plus the profit of the owner, profit of the car company owner, which is 3,000. So 7,000 plus 3,000 is equal to 10,000. So again, adding all the incomes of the two companies, it is also equal to the GDP of this hypothetical economy. There are two types of GDP. We have nominal and real GDP. Nominal GDP is also equal to the actual GDP of the country. It is derived by multiplying the price of the product times its quantity. So, for example, in 2004, the price of car is 200,000 and the quantity is 20 units. So, 200,000 times 20, so that's the nominal GDP in 2004. So, nominal GDP is equal to 4 million. In 2005 naman, the price of car is 240,000 times its quantity, the 22. So, nominal GDP is 5,280,000. And in 2016, by multiplying price and quantity of cars, so nominal GDP is equal to 5,980,000. How about real GDP? To calculate real GDP, we need to choose a base year or a base period. So, for example, our base year is 2005. So, ibig sabihin, we use the prices of goods and services in 2005 to calculate the real GDP in 2004, 2005, and 2006 in our table. So again, 2005 is our base year. So we will use the price na, what's the price of car in 2005? It's 240,000, diba? So to calculate real GDP in 2004, it's now equal to 240,000 times 20 units of car. So 240,000 times 20 is equal to 4,800,000. Nagets? Then sa 2005, the price of car in the base year is 240,000 times the quantity of car in 2005 is 22. So it's equal to 5,280,000. And in 2006, the real GDP is now 5,520,000. Or it is derived by multiplying 240,000 times 23 units. Okay? And kung mapapansin nyo class, in the base year, the value of real GDP is equal to nominal GDP. Ay, tingnan nyo sa 2005. Nominal GDP is equal to real GDP. And that is always the case. So, at the base year, nominal GDP is equal to real GDP.